This is Al Angelo from A Plus Racing, bringing you a video of how to get your car up there on the front row, so where the trophies are at. Hey, so we're doing this modification to a car today, and we're gonna actually add steel braided brake lines to the car. Now, why do we add steel braided brake lines? Well, other than that they look really cool, but they are functional. So I like using steel braided brake lines for the fact that I feel that the brake pedal is much more sensitive, all right? So normal brake lines are made out of rubber, okay? They're rubber and they've got some fibers in there that keep it strong. And I think that under hard braking that they probably swell a little bit, but with the steel braided brake lines, I have zero swell. So, and these last a really long time. They never deteriorate or anything like that. So I enjoy using these on the car. I feel that the brake pedal is more sensitive to me when I'm braking, especially when I'm using racing brake pads. Racing brake pads are already pretty sensitive, and so I don't get any squishiness. I've got a much firmer pedal using steel braided brake lines. So I got this kit from Advanced Auto Parts. They sell me auto parts out of Wisconsin, and I highly recommend them. They're great people down there. I've been dealing with them since probably the day one that I started Miatas 20 some odd years ago. And so it's a great organization. They have a good price, and they always sell a really high quality product. They also rent out Spec Miatas, and so they do this for a living, and they're not just hobbyists. So they actually, use the same parts that they sell. So the kit comes with all 4 brake lines, including the right rear junction box. So it's already attached to it. So it's a really complete kit. It comes with the banjo bolts and the copper washers for both front and rear. There's some instructions right here on how to put the kit in. This kit is an MA1110. That's the kit that I got from them. But let me talk to you a little bit about the tools. So when we're dealing with brake lines or fuel lines, and we have to undo a brake line, we do not use this, okay? Don't use this on a brake line, all right? You're gonna end up using this end here, and this is what we call a 2-point. It only touches the brake line in 2 places. So we're gonna use a line wrench, and a line wrench has much more surface area than a regular wrench. So we're gonna use a line wrench to crack them loose, and then once they're cracked loose, we can go to this wrench here. But we definitely want to use a line wrench. Otherwise, you're going to round it off. And if you round off that brake line and you're trying to get that thing off, you're really going to have yourself a battle there. All right? I've gotten them off. They're round. Of course, they come in here all the time and they're all rounded off because somebody used this instead of using this. And so we're going to start off with this right off the bat, and that way it's going to make our job easier this time, and if we ever have to take the brake line off. All right? So let's take a little break. We're gonna go out in the shop. We're gonna put a couple of these on, all right? I'll see you out there. Okay, so we're at the car. So this is the car I'm building, and I'm gonna be putting these steel braided brake lines on. So if you come over here and look over my shoulder, you can see it still has the original rubber brake lines. So we're gonna get rid of these, all right? So one thing I'm gonna take off is I'm gonna have to loosen up this brake line right here, okay? So can you get a good shot of that? We got Scott filming, so say hi, Scott.
Hi.
That's Scott. All right, so I got my 10 millimeter line wrench, and I'm gonna put it on here. There it goes. All right, good, it came loose. All right, so now if I wanted to switch to a regular wrench right now, I could, because I've got the thing pretty much broken loose. Now, there is gonna be brake fluid leaking out, so, don't panic about that. We're gonna end up having to bleed the brakes anyhow. Let me grab the other wrench. So I'm just switching to this one now. It's a little easier. And this is a pretty easy job, and it doesn't take very long. And you get good results from it. And I like those kind of things. You get good results from it, and it doesn't take very long. All right. And like I said, if you see brake fluid leaking out, don't panic. All right, I think I got it. Okay, there's the line. The line's off. Now, what's holding the line on is this little clip right here. And what I do is I take a pair of pliers and I grab the clip and I just pull it out towards me. There it is. Okay, so there's the clip that holds it in. Now the line will just come right out. Okay, so there's the line. All right, so now I have a 12 millimeter on the caliper right here. And I'm going to go ahead and take this 12 off. And there should be 2 copper washers here. So I'm taking the banjo bolt off. Okay. So here's a copper washer. Here's my banjo bolt, and there's my other copper washer. So the kit came with 2 new ones. So I'm going to go ahead and use these new ones. Those. Okay. So now I have the brake line here. Okay, so this is it. This is the one I'm going to replace, and I've got the banjo and 1 copper washer. And here's the other copper washer. Okay, so I'm going to set those right here. And I'm going to take this brake line, I'm going to set it in here where it goes. And then the clip, I'm going to figure out where I set it. There it is. So the clip goes in this little slot right here. Okay, you can see that. All right. So I'm going to put this brake line in here. I'm going to set the clip back in there. And I just pushed it in. Okay. My brake line is right here. So I'm going to go ahead and set the brake line back in. And it's very important that you don't cross thread it. So it should just thread in with your fingers. All right. And then once you get it started, which I don't have it, then you can go ahead and use the line, the wrench. All right, let me try it. Okay. And sometimes, if I have problems getting it to line up and tighten up, I can do it first. I think I got this one. Yeah, I got it. I could actually, before I put the clip in, that clip, just go ahead and start it, and then start the threads, and then put the clip in last. But I got it. All right. Okay, so I'm snug down. I'm switching to a line wrench right here. Okay, I'm going to tighten that down. I'm going to get a wrench and put it on the back here. I think that's a 19, so I can get it good and tight. Yeah, smaller than 19. Oh, that'll work. All right. Let me try a 17. Okay. All right, that's it. That's good and tightened up. Okay. Now the banjo. So I put a copper washer on, and here's my banjo here. I'm going to put the banjo and the copper washer on there. I have a second copper washer that goes on the bottom, and then this threads into the caliper. And I got that down, and that looks like it's not a 12 anymore. It might be a 14. Yep. Okay. And now what I want to do is I want to make sure that when I tighten this down, see, I can move this in any position. I'm going to want this in a position that it's not rubbing against the tire. Okay. So I don't want the tire to rub up against it. So I might have to come back after the tire is on and readjust that to make sure that this doesn't rub on the tire. All right. Try not to get a bunch of twists in it. I see it's got a little bit of twist, but I think I can take care of that by moving this. There we go. Okay, there. I got rid of the twist in it. Okay, take a good look at that. You'll see what I did. And then we're going to go to the back. All right, and we'll be right back. Okay, so we're at the back here, and pretty fancy, huh? I'm building this for a good friend of mine too. So I have the rear one. Now the one on the right rear has the junction box, all right? So the other side, the other rear is just like the front. So the two fronts are the same and the left rear is the same as the front. So I'm going to show you how to install the harder one, which is the junction box right here, okay? So this one goes on this side. So here's the original junction box right here. And then my first step again is going to be to crack loose the line fittings. Okay, there's one. Get my line wrench on there. Okay. Okay. All right. So I got both of the fittings loosened up. So we can take these off. And like I said, you might see brake fluid come out. Okay. I got that one. Try to get this top one off. And might have to switch to the other wrench. Okay, so where's my 10 at? And like I said, it's not a hard job, pretty easy. Probably going to have my class do the other side. And being that I'm doing the junction box side, I'm already doing, you know, this is like the hardest one, only because it's got a couple more fittings. And it's nice that these didn't get rounded off. So otherwise, this job could take quite a bit longer. I think we almost got it. This is probably definitely one that I'm going to want to thread these in before I bolt the junction box in place. So it'll make it a little easier. There we go. All right, so I got that one. So the junction box is held on with these two 10mm bolts right here. So I'm going to take those off. And then the junction box should come off. I think there might be one more bolt. All right. This car had ABS, and we don't use ABS on the racetrack. So that's what this was. So I eliminated the ABS. So I'm probably just going to get rid of this little bracket. All right, there we go. Okay, I got rid of that. All right, so now I have this banjo bolt here, and I think that one is an 11. Yep. There we go. Okay. And I got my class watching me from Del Oro. So the Del Oro class of 2025 is here. And we're filming in front of them. Scott's videotaping it. Okay, so got two washers, banjo bolt, rubber line, junction box. So I'm going to set that off to the side. All right, so here's my junction box now. Let's see, this one's going to go like this. Okay. So I'm going to start these first. And it looks like this one just has one hole there. So then we're going to start this one. I know you get hard to see it here. I'm having a hard time doing it myself. I think I'm going to start that one first. I think that top one's a little harder, so I'm going to take this bottom one back out. Put the top one in first. And I'm kind of in an awkward position to see it, or I'm kind of going by braille. All right, I think I got it. Okay, so I got that one started. Okay, now we'll start this one. All right, I got that one started. Okay, and I'm going to start tightening these up with just a 10 mil. I'll finish them off with the line wrench, and I definitely don't want to cross thread these. So especially that brass junction box, that would ruin my day. So we're approaching 7,000 subscribers. I mean, 2 years ago, you'd have told me that 7,000 people were interested in what I'm doing on a Miata. I would have said that's not true. But I really appreciate all of you from all over the world chiming into this channel and learning about Miatas. And I'm happy to show you what I know. I'm not always perfect at it, but what I do, I use on the racetrack. So if it works on the racetrack, it'll probably work for you. Okay, so this one's almost tight. Pretty good quality parts too. All right, I'm gonna switch to the bottom one. Okay, that one's really tight. All right, so now I'm gonna put the nut back on here on the junction box that holds it to the body. We start it. $10 mil on this. I think everything here is pretty much 10 millimeter. So it's a 10 mil, so I don't go crazy. All right, most of the 10 mils are torqued to like 12 foot-pounds. All right, so now I'm going to use the line wrench, and I'm going to come back here and tighten them down. And I'm, like, once again, I'm not going to go crazy on tightening them. I don't want to round it off or break it off or anything. Okay, that one feels good. We're almost done. All right, that one's good. Okay, so now we have the banjo. So I need 2 washers and a banjo bolt. So I'm going to put the copper washer on the banjo bolt, put it through that side, then the copper washer on this side. So it basically made a sandwich out of it. All right, I know I'm going to get my arm in the way of you seeing it, but let me get it started, and then I'll bring you guys in so you can see what's going on. All right, I got it. Once again, once I get this all together and I got the wheels on it, I want to get underneath there and make sure that I'm not hitting the tire. So I need a 14. Okay. I'm going to snug this down like that, and it's all fine thread, so you got to be really careful. This one I'm going to double check, even though it came with this one on there. Okay, so that's good and tight. All right. Okay, that's it. So we got it. All right. So we did the one whole passenger side, and I'll let the other kids do the other side. Hey, thanks for chiming in on my channel. I hope this gives you a helping hand of getting up there in the first place, and I'll see you at the racetrack. Bye now.